At 42, I find myself reflecting on the end of a decade-long marriage to my wife, Emma, who's 41. We recently went our separate ways, and while many things contributed to the unraveling of our relationship, the deepest tension centered around her daughter, my stepdaughter, Lily, who is now 17. When I met Emma, Lily was just 7 years old. Her biological father was more of a ghost than a presence, dropping in with the occasional phone call, belated birthday gift, or a rare visit every few years. From the beginning, I made it clear that I wasn't trying to replace him. I wasn't trying to erase his role, but I was willing, eager even, to be the man who showed up, and I did. The bond between Lily and me took time to form. It wasn't instant, but brick by brick, we built something real. I was there night after night, helping her with homework, teaching her how to swim, sitting beside her through fevers and nightmares. I never demanded affection, never insisted on a title, but when at 9 years old, she called me Dad for the first time, completely unprompted, it caught me off guard in the most beautiful way. My heart swelled. It felt like a quiet affirmation of all the little efforts that had built our connection. A few years into our marriage, I broached the idea of adopting Lily. I truly believed I had earned that place in her life, not through blood, but through presence, consistency, and love. But her biological father wouldn't relinquish his parental rights, and Emma didn't push the matter. She said she wanted to avoid conflict. For Lily's sake, for everyone's. I let it go, trusting that Lily knew who had been there for her all along. Over the years, I took on the bulk of Lily's expenses without hesitation. Emma eventually cut back her hours at work to part-time, so I stepped up financially, covering her private school tuition, clothes, braces, summer camps, birthday parties, everything. I never treated Lily as anything less than my daughter. She was family. That was enough for me. But things began to shift when Lily turned 15. She became distant, withdrawn. I chalked it up to adolescence, mood swings, identity struggles, normal growing pains. When she stopped calling me Dad and began using my first name instead, I felt a quiet ache, but I didn't push back. Emma told me it was just a phase and that I should give her space. So I did, but the space grew into a chasm. She began avoiding me altogether, leaving the room when I entered, responding to me with indifference or sarcasm. Then one evening, I overheard her talking to a friend on the phone. Her voice was cold. She said I wasn't a real father, that she only called me Dad to make me happy. I stood outside the door, gutted, feeling the weight of every bedtime story, every scraped knee I'd kissed, every late-night worry I carried. Still, I tried to hold on. I kept showing up, kept paying the bills, kept trying to reach her. Then, 6 months ago, everything cracked wide open. Lily came home at 2 a.m., drunk, after driving herself back from a party. My heart froze at the danger she had put herself in, the risk to others on the road. But I stayed calm. I took her car keys, told her she was grounded, and that we would talk when she sobered up. Her reaction was volcanic. She shouted at me with pure venom, insisting I had no right to discipline her. "You're just my mom's husband," she screamed. "You're not my real dad. You never will be." I stood there in silence, staring into the eyes of the girl I had raised for a decade. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I just turned and walked away. The next day, I sat Emma down and told her I was done. I wasn't trying to punish anyone, but I was finished pretending to be a father to someone who openly rejected me. I was finished being disrespected in my own home. I was finished funding a lifestyle for a teenager who saw me as nothing more than an unwanted presence. I took steps, not out of anger, but out of clarity. I withdrew financial support for Lily's final year of private school. If I wasn't family, then she could attend public school like any other teenager. I had my name taken off the lease of the car I'd paid for, and the car was returned. I canceled her phone plan and stopped covering her insurance. When Lily came home and found her car gone and her phone disconnected, I imagine it must have come as a shock. But I had nothing left to give, not emotionally, not financially. Love is not a bottomless well, especially when it's poured into someone who refuses to see its worth. What hurt the most wasn't the ingratitude. It was the erasure of everything we had shared. 10 years of memories, of comfort, of care. She chose to throw it away. And in doing so, she fractured something I don't believe can ever be repaired. So I walked away, not because I stopped loving her, but because I finally accepted she had never truly seen me as her father. When Lily found her car gone and her phone disconnected, her fury was immediate. She stormed into the room demanding answers, her voice sharp with betrayal. I stayed calm, met her gaze, and simply said, "Ask your real dad." That single sentence ignited a storm. She shouted, she cried, hurled accusations about abandonment, but I didn't fight back. I didn't raise my voice. I just turned and walked away, carrying a pain too deep for words. Emma came to me soon after, her face tight with emotion. She called me cruel, accusing me of punishing a teenage girl just because my feelings had been hurt. I listened, then answered with the truth that had been building inside me for years. I had been more of a father to Lily than her biological dad ever was. And yet, all that counted for nothing. I told her plainly, I was done being treated like an ATM with a pulse. I had loved, provided, nurtured, but I was no longer willing to be seen only for what I could give, never for who I was. Our arguments escalated in the days that followed. Emma, I think, knew deep down that I had a point, but she couldn't bring herself to admit it. She had stood by silently while our family crumbled. She had allowed the situation to spiral, perhaps hoping it would resolve itself. It didn't. Eventually, I packed a bag and left. We tried to call it a separation, to keep some hope alive, but the damage was done. The foundation had cracked too deeply, and no patching could hold it together. The love we had built had eroded under years of silent resentments and unspoken truths. A few weeks ago, Emma reached out and asked to meet. She suggested the little cafe we used to go to when things were simpler, before everything got so complicated. When I arrived, I barely recognized her. She looked exhausted. Her hair was unkempt, her eyes puffy, her usual glow dulled by stress and sorrow. It was like watching someone trying to hold together the pieces of a life that had quietly fallen apart. Then she told me something that knocked the air from my lungs. Lily had moved in with her biological father, the same man who had drifted in and out of her life like smoke, offering the occasional gift, but never showing up when it really mattered. He was now her chosen home. I sat there stunned, struggling to process the weight of it. Emma, fighting back tears, confessed she had known for over a year that Lily had been reconnecting with him online. He had been feeding her promises, cars, vacations, college tuition, all while painting me as some controlling figure trying to push him out of the picture. Lily had believed him. And worse, Emma had read the messages, had seen the manipulation unfolding in real time, but she'd stayed silent, too afraid to confront it, hoping it would blow over. I felt hollow. I had poured myself into this family, carried the emotional and financial weight, withstood rejection after rejection, all while another man rewrote our story behind my back. And the woman who was supposed to be my partner had just watched it happen. It's been 2 months now. Lily is still with her father, though, predictably, the fantasy is unraveling. The promised car never came. The dream vacations were just talk. He's already disappointing her, the way he always did. Emma told me Lily has started calling, tearful and frustrated, asking to come back. But Emma hasn't made a decision yet. As for me, I've closed the chapter. I've mourned the family I thought I had. The grief came in waves, unexpected, deep, and disorienting. At times, I felt like a ghost in my own life, invisible in a story I helped write. Therapy has helped me piece things back together, to sit with the pain and make peace with it. But if there's one thing I've come to understand, it's this: I was a good father. I showed up. I stayed. I loved fiercely and gave selflessly, even when it wasn't acknowledged, even when it was thrown back in my face. And if being a real dad means disappearing for years and then buying your way back in with shiny promises, then I'm proud to say I never fit that mold. For 10 years, I gave everything I had to Lily. And even if she never sees it, even if she never says thank you or calls me dad again, I know the truth. I was there, and that matters.